Okay, today's class we are going to see the final unit, that is Indian linguistic and artistic tradition. So actually we are going to see, okay, first of all, what is the Indian linguistic tradition, especially artistic tradition. So before going to the linguistic tradition, we are going to completely see what are all the artistic tradition and how ancient India, what are all the artistic tradition we had, what way that is connected to the particular region, okay, how a culture and artistic things are varying with region to region and etc. that we are going to see. Okay, for that, first I will start with the basic thing. Okay, so because these things everyone should know as far as the artistic tradition and all, you should know as a, it is very very common only. Are you able to see the slide? As far as the Indian tradition, artistic tradition and culture is concerned, the very important thing is it is very very often. So you cannot see in any other country. Okay, that will say that is a namaste. What is the namo? Okay, that will let there be a salutation to you. So very importantly, no other country. If you see, even if you go to Chinese and they are having a different one, and Malaysian having a different one, and Muslim countries having a different one. So it is a unique kind of thing. Okay, so which will respect as a mark of respect that will do, and also in culture, especially in our Indian culture, garlanding. So garlanding a person is there are specifically two reasons behind that. One is showcase that one's happiness at receiving the particular guest, and another one is publicly acknowledging the guest's important. Okay, so there is a way. One culture is a garlanding is there. As far as our Indian national flag is concerned, I don't know how many of you able to remember. This was studied in the school level and all. Okay, so it's a flag on a saffron color. Okay, the symbolizes is the courage and sacrifice, and at the center place the white stands for peace and truth, and green is it's a symbolic representation of faith and chivalry, and blue color represents that color of lines that represents color of the sky and ocean, and the 24 spokes of the wheel. Okay, that particular is called as Ashok Chakra, corresponds with the 24 hours of the day, implying that there is a life in movement and death in stagnation. So okay, there is a way it is having a mixed response, like other foreign countries having a colors, and but for them colors and stars and other things that represent same, but whereas our national flag represents our complete Indian tradition. Okay, so and there are 28 states and union territories. Okay, so and we are having a 1.38 billion people. So with almost 70% in rural area. And Hindu is the major religion with 81.3, and Muslims are with 12 percentage, and Christians with 2.3 percentage. Next to them is Sikh is 1.9 percentage, and other groups including Buddhist, Jain, Parsi. Okay, that is around 2.5 percentage. So totally 41.6 percentage of the total Indian population in India are below the poverty line. This is a 10 year, a decade before data. Now the recently updated one is what is the population and how many states and how many union territories are there. That's what. So as far as the power, percentage of population below poverty line is a decade before data, and 75 percentage of the poor are in rural areas. That is, most of them are daily wages, self-employed householders, and landless laborers. And surprisingly, if you look into that, our tradition, so the only country having more than 1,000 mother tongues. In India, we are having around 1,652 mother tongues, that is languages. Okay, so in different parts of country, different regions of the country, different district specific, even some of the northeastern state, if you go and see, even a village specific. Okay, other than that village, other than the some two, three villages, other people they don't know. So that type of very old and non-written form of languages are still existing. There are four major caste system also in India. Okay, especially the Brahmins, they belongs to teachers, scholars, priests, and Kshatriyas, especially kings, warriors, and administrators, and other form of caste system where service provider, laborers, then Vaishyas, agricultural and traders. So it is in these four they are having that evolved to a thousand more caste and sub-caste system. That is a very old system that is in India. As far as the national tree is concerned, banyan tree. We all know the banyan tree. The branches are root themselves like new trees over a larger area. The roots then give rise to a more trunks and branches to a tree. The tree is considered immortal. Okay, so it can live more than 1,000 years. I think how many of you know in Adayar? Okay, so I think near to some library. So there was more than 1,000-year-old banyan tree was there. Okay, but long back, some 10 to 15 years before, due to the cyclone and all, it was fall down. But anyhow, they identified and they still is able to identify a new place and they have established the tree there and now it's continuously growing. But the branches only, some of the portions only. Okay, so it is a symbol of immortal. As far as in Indian tradition, banyan tree is a symbol of immortal. That is no death. Okay, is continuously going to be live forever. Okay, so even today, the banyan tree is the focal point of any village life and the village council meeting. Everything is happening under the shade of trees only. So national flower, sacred flower, that is lotus. Okay, and it occupies a unique position in the art and mythology of ancient India. Okay, and it is an auspicious symbol of Indian culture and since the time immemorial. Okay, so it is very important that is national flower, and you know that national tiger, national bird, peacock, mango. Okay, these are all the things. So as far as our culture is concerned, it is compared to any other country. We followed a different culture, a different tradition, different traditional systems. Especially even in a dining, we follow some etiquette. Dining etiquette is there, especially Indian cuisine uh, relishes its flavors and species. Okay, much of the food are eaten with the fingers only. We won't use any spoon or wooden spoons or any complete liquid like food and all. It will mixed blend of both say, solid and semi-solid food only. Usually in any dining, okay, so it is a culture or it's a tradition that we will invite guests and guest of honor is served first, followed by the men and the children are served last. Okay, women typically serve the men and eat later on. If you see in European now, it almost it's changed. Okay, we are start following the European culture and all. Okay, but earlier in our tradition, and you may be asked to wash your hands before and after sitting down to a meal, and always you have to use your right hand, whether you are using utensils or your fingers, it doesn't matter. So you have to use your right hand only. That is a very correct mannerism and respect like that the people will feel. Okay, take off your shoes before entering any house. So these are all the some etiquettes and traditions we have followed. If you see that Indian attires, okay, Indian attires, I already told that in India, especially every 50 kilometer if you travel, you can able to see people are speaking differently, speaking even though the same language. Tamil Nadu means so starting from Kanyakumari to Chennai, if we go every region, every 10, 50 kilometer, 100 kilometer, we see that people the way they are speaking Tamil language itself different. Okay, their culture may be different, their food habit is slightly different. Okay, so if put together, integrated together means region to region, state to state, if you go, then it's completely changed. Their attire, culture, the way they eat, way they are speaking, food habit, everything is changed. Okay, so likewise, not only the normal attire, it's also applicable to ethnic wear. And if you go for any wedding attires, religion to religion, region to region, it is changed. Okay, so likewise, Indian tradition. If you see that Indian tradition, what is a uniqueness? That is a strong social system and family values. Even though in other aspects, language, culture, and behavior, literature, okay, food habit, etc., change. Yeah, one thing that makes us common as a unique is we were the strong believer in the social system, strong believer in social system, and as well as in the family values. Okay, so in this Indian tradition system, so elders are considered the driving force, and that's the reason why they are all respected and loved. Okay, by the children, by their by their family members and all. The guests are considered as a gods and are treated with the respect and love, even if by foregoing some of the personal pleasures. Okay, so that is a tradition, Indian tradition system, especially when we are meeting elders, touching feet, and when we are using name. Actually, in Western culture, even though you are brother and sisters and siblings, so it's okay. Among the siblings also, they used to call with name only, or wherever they go outside also, they used to call with a name only. But in our thing, a name itself having a protocol. Younger never uses proper name of their elders. Okay, so they usually called as Anna, Akka. Okay, only people of the same age will address each other by first name. Okay, and if you see our tradition systems, okay, so they never speaks about their especially spouse, husband. Okay, so and whenever they caution with the footwear also. So it is very important to apologize immediately if one touches someone with his shoe or sandal. So this is a very important thing. Even if you see this tradition is still continuing. And if you see, okay, so any the modesty, that is interaction in the public between the men and women, is much more restrained in our culture than the Western culture, and as well as in many of the our Indian culture. Okay, for the most part, the men socialize with the men, and women with the women only. Men never socialize with the women in public unless the lady is very elderly or infirm. Okay, so likewise they will do it in the reserve and serving at meals also. At meals, women follow the custom of serving the men first before enjoying their own meal. Okay, that is what some of the tradition that we are following. And chaperoning. Okay, that is, it is customary for a woman to always accompany when she leaves the home. Living alone or two is unusual. But whereas in Western culture, and that is called as a freedom, that is called as a totally independence. Okay, so not only financially, in our system also nowadays, people are earning. Earlier also, women were earned, and they were in the armed forces, they were in the military, they were in the kingdom, they were the queen, and etc. But when they customary, that is, it is customary for a woman to always be accompanied when she leaves the house. Okay, so living alone too is totally unusual. And home visits, close friends can visit one another anytime without being announced or making arrangements first. But whereas in Western culture, unless otherwise you inform well in advance, okay, so your home visit to the particular friend and you may not receive it, okay, properly or well. Okay, so when they drop in, also at least refreshing drink is always served. So we had an wonderful tradition and system, especially family systems in India. So this is the one and another one reason why the particular subject is introduced, especially in the professional course. Okay, so not only knowing the essence of Indian knowledge tradition, so that tradition is giving. We had a very wonderful system. Okay, compared to rest of the country, rest of the world. Okay, especially bondage of love and affection is abundantly found in Indian family system. That is the reason why Okay, children are able to grow well and they can able to accomplish their dreams. Okay, and they're able to afterwards they are taking care of the parents, aged parents also. Such a system, such a kind of thing, we cannot see in all the countries and all the traditions. Okay, and also culture and tradition of India that does not support any this type of affection. Okay, marriages with affection and divorce and all earlier. Okay, so that we have to think over and we have to respect our family systems or values, and we should also as a being a, okay, as a citizen of this country, okay, that we have to support and follow also. But if you see in other cases, okay, other aspect, if you see other dimensions, there are a lot of such systems were followed which are totally especially dowry system, okay, caste discrimination, especially class upper middle lower Barda systems. A lot of other systems were also followed, even though maybe especially between the 14th to and 19th century. Okay, it was dominated and it created a lot of problems also. Actually, if you really look into that and analyze the deep root cause of these problems, you may come to know. So earlier this was not our system. So it was borrowed. It was borrowed and it was simply like a some regions they were followed and it was spreaded throughout our tradition and all. But if you look into that very deep analysis, if you made any micro analysis on that, before 14th century, you couldn't be able to find out any of the such systems that is in our tradition. This is what, yeah, a simple introduction about this system. When you're talking about arts and culture, when you're talking about Indian arts and culture system, then it is having a very, very rich, especially we are going to see it in detail in this particular fifth unit. Okay, so we are going to see how this type of culture, especially the puppet farm. Puppet farm. Okay, if you see the puppet farm, it maybe seems to be a very silly thing. Okay, now you cannot see any such a theaters or any such a places where the puppet type of shows are not happening or not, but very few places only. But if you see, it is having a very, very lengthy, very long history in Indian culture and tradition system. And apart from that, painting styles. Okay, so in India only they have used more than 1,000 varieties of such a painting systems. Okay, so each region is having its own identity on painting styles and dance forms, whether classical or folk or tribal, and theater forms also. Before, even if you see that any Shakespeare's novel and all in the Western culture, it may have some 16th century, 15th century only. But our tradition, it is followed 2000 years before itself. We had and a theater forms, okay, for the performance. Okay, and by that they are able to take the messages, they are able to deliver the messages, some moral values, and they are able to maintain such all the values and traits, especially the family systems and all. So these are all the forms where earlier also helped. And music, if you take an Indian music, we know that Carnatic music and all, it is more than 2000 years old, and with a lot of grammar, with a lot of phonetics, with a lot of notes, okay, musical notes and all. It was about 2000 years old. And likewise, we have already discussed about Indian architecture, Indian literature and religions also already. So as of now, we are going to see all this, the first up to the theater forms and music. Okay, what is our tradition? So see, it is like a puppet form. If you see that, okay, this is a form of theater or performance that involves a manipulation of puppets, especially the process of animating inanimate performing objects. Inanimate performing object, which are all the inanimate performing object only. Here it's called as a puppet. Okay, it is string puppet, shadow puppet, glow puppet, okay, rod puppet. If you see go and go, but now the people they're performing, or the society or particular community they're performing these type of puppet performances have been almost reduced. Now everybody started, they start moving to the, but if you really analyze this type of thing, it is still it is followed as a rituals in some of the temples. Okay, after the temple festival or carnivals are over, and still they are able to follow, or still they're following this type of rituals or conducting this type of puppet performance, and strongly believing that especially the children's, okay, so adultancy, after adultancy age, it is very much useful to convey some information with a more effective manner. Imagine that 100 years before, okay, so there was no any kind of this type of lighting system, there is no anything this kind of sound system, echoing system, this and that. Okay, without that, they are able to transfer the knowledge, okay, of our epics, okay, our great epics like Ramayana, Mahabharata, okay, generation to generation. Okay, so even some of them, they may not have any written form, okay, literate one, but even in this case also they are able to describe, they are able to tell, and they are able to follow what is a core concept of Ramayana, why we have to follow, and what are the things they learned, okay, from Mahabharata. So how it happened, if anybody, if they really does the particular research, so they may identify that this type of puppet form, okay, so especially in kind of using this string or shadow. Okay, so with these type of things only they perform, and they are able to communicate in the complete messages, complete traits and qualities, histories. All these things were transferred from one generation to generation. Okay, so especially, so that's what here it is originating in India 4,000 years ago. Imagine that 4,000 years ago, this type of theater performance where they were started in the public place. Okay, so especially when during the carnival or during the festival time. Okay, if you see really, if you analyze, it is nothing but suppose a string puppet is nothing but a joint body and limbs that allow the movement of the particular puppet, and it's made up of wood, wire, cloth that's stuffed with the cotton rags or straw and dust. They are with a minimal number, usually a small in dimension, that only they are used, and they are manipulated by operating the control as well as loosening. Okay, that is pulling the relevant string. By that, a person looking from a distance able to see that it is performing individually. Okay, it is performing individually. It is a kind of such a art. Okay, so you see that 4,000 years before itself, before the other rest of the world, they start even thinking about writing, letter form, languages before they develop. We have developed the theater performance system that is using a puppet, that is especially to communicate our traits and qualities and our great epics like Ramayana, Mahabharata. Okay, taken to a rural village people. Up to that, it has done. Okay, so in each regional variation. So in each regional, it may be called with the different names, but it did the only one thing, the same thing. Okay, so if you see that regional variation in Andhra Pradesh, okay, they are called it as a Koya Bomalata, Assam, Puttala Nachi, Karnataka, Sutrada Gombaita, in Tamil Nadu, Pomulatam, Orissa, Gobalila, likewise with different names only, but they are done. Another type of, if you see that string puppet, okay, so in Rajasthan, in Orissa also is there. Okay, so but region to region is small variations, and regional musics also were added, especially in string puppet in Kunderi, Orissa. Okay, they have used made up of light wood only. Okay, and have no legs but wear a longer flowing skirts and all, and music of Odissi dance they are used. If you see it in Karnataka, it is a style like the characters of Yakshanga have joined the legs, okay, shoulders, elbows, hips, and knees, and they performed these things. Okay, especially in Tamil Nadu. Okay, they have used both. It's a mixture. So especially in Tamil Nadu, it is called that as a bommalatam. Okay, that they have used. both a rod, okay, rod puppet and also string puppet. It is mainly made up of wood. Okay, that strings are tied in iron ring with a puppeteer and wear like a crown on their head, and they are having a control of this type of strings on their fingers, and they are do it. Okay, so this is the how they are done. And another one kind of this type of puppet form is shadow puppet. Okay, so in the figure itself, it is that they have used. Okay, so especially cut out of leather. Okay, that is make to translation. Okay, so translation, making an image like that. These type of shadow puppets were prevalent in Orissa, Kerala, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu. Okay, these type of manipulations also between the light and screen make colorful shadows. Okay, for the viewers who sit in front of the screen, they can able to get into the story or get into the message very quickly. Okay, this is all some mesmerizing type of thing they have done. Okay, before this type of modern Western cultures and scientific inventions came. Okay. You see other parts in Karnataka, okay, Dogalu Gombayata and Tolu Pomalata in Andhra Pradesh. Okay, so these are all the things similar to that of our Tamil Nadu Pomalata they have done, and likewise Shadow Puppet in Odisha. Okay, and Glow Puppet. Okay, so these are the forms. So these tradition. Okay, if you see that 4,000 years before itself, before other countries, rest of the world, they start thinking about these things, topics, global puppet. And they are, especially in Kerala, okay, this globe puppet having a different thing. They are presented usually in a play form, okay, using hands, and they made it as a doll like that. Okay, then they will hold. It seems to be that they will hold remaining under voice, okay, voice and actions and everything. Okay, they are performed. It is such a wonderful art. Okay, and this. Puppeteer, okay, that manipulates the puppet sitting on an elevated platform and use an instrumental music, okay, chanda mela and the conch shells. Using that, they are performance. Okay, the same type of thing in the globe puppet in West Bengal also is there. Okay, so especially for commercial people, those who are selling commercial products, okay, some sweets and all, they used this type of globe puppet. And in Orissa, okay, so it is called Shakti Kundei, and they also done this, but especially they are using a puppets, okay, that are gaudily dressed and having some definite expression of depict emotions with that, okay, with Odissi music and all, they are communicated. The songs are from the medieval poet using a folk and the melodies. Okay, that is popular in the village only. They have used. So this is also a very old one. Okay, as far as this is tradition is concerned, especially Sakki Kundi, more than 4,000 years of history is there. Only thing is we couldn't find any written evidences or other things, but transfer to from generation to generation of a particular community or particular region people. Okay, they are done it as a family business, and they are teach their young generation, and they are also perform. Likewise, it is capable of transferring more than 4,000 years. And very importantly, Gulabur Sitapu in Uttar Pradesh. Okay, so this especially it is a representative of dolls. Okay, so that is a helpless wife and Gulabu and beautiful mistress of the same man. So how they are performed. Okay, so so it is also a kind of a globe puppet concept. And if you see the rod puppet in in Tamil Nadu, in the Pamalatam also, we have used the concept of a rod puppet that is nothing but extension of a claw puppet. Okay, so they have used uh, mixed, okay, not exclusively, but whereas if you see it in West Bengal and Odisha, they have used exclusively this type of puppet performances and forms. Okay, so that's what West Bengal. You see that say completely it be hidden. Okay, those who are seeing from the in front of the particular stage, they could be able to see that it is completely performing on its own individual. But a person who is standing, okay, so they'll control and used to be of human size. Okay, so the dolls and all used to be vary from 3 to 4 feet in height. You can able to imagine it's almost equal to some 80% of the normal, 90% the normal height. That much height dolls and all they have used. Okay, and especially these are all manipulated by a bamboo made hub. Okay, so the family to waste the puppeteer to which the rod holding the pupper is placed. So the same thing that is in Orissa and Bihar also. Okay. If you come into the painting stage, okay, as I already told that, so there are basically of two types only, murals and miniatures. So what is the murals is, it is nothing but a large scale painting that is generally attached to the floor of any palaces and caves. Okay, so now we could able to see the same thing. Okay, in so many palaces and all. If you see in Tamil Nadu, a lot of such a palaces were there. In the border also, Padmanapuram Palace. So there are so many palaces are there. So there we could able to see this type of large scale painting that is especially attached to floor, especially attached in the floors. Okay, if you go to Madurai, okay, in the Meenakshi Amman temple and all, in some of the area you can able to see these murals. Okay. And another one is miniatures. It is a small scale. Okay, it's not like in a floor. It's a small scale, which are done mainly in the cloth and paper. Okay, mainly they are done it in a cloth and paper. You could able to see the right hand side is in a. It is not a photo. It is in a painting. It's in a painting. So such a reliable, okay, real paintings are there. Okay, so in India, they have categorized into a special seven special group. That is Rajasthani painting, Madhubani painting, Tanjore painting, Mughal painting, Bengal style of painting or art, okay, Pattachitra and Warli art. So in Indian tradition, they have classified and categorized that into a seven special group. If you see that Madhubani, if you see that in that only colors, okay, so this is also called as a Mithila painting. Mithila painting, so mainly you can able that originated from the Bihar. Now it's called Bihar, the Madhubani village of Bihar. That is why the particular painting style is called Madhubani. Okay, so this according to the mythology, the tradition commenced when Janakaraj, the father of Rani Sita, okay, in the epic of Ramayana, that asked his painters to paint the moment of marriage ceremony of Sita with. At that time, there were no any photos, videos, no. So they were asked to paint. Okay, so such a things. So that is what, afterwards is continuously followed. Okay, that's what traditionally done in. Now also in Madhubani women's on mud walls. Okay, and they have done natural objects like moon, sun, tulsi, etc. Also found with the theme. Okay, so in here if you see that it will not be exactly the resemblance of actual figure like the previous one. Okay, but it is using a lot of colors. Okay, a lot of meaningful thing and the particular advantage of this is that it's done with the ticks and brushes and fingers, okay, and matchsticks, okay, and nip pads, okay. So they are not used any other thing, material like paper and cloth. You see, the Tanjore art is very very world famous. Also, this is originated from the place Tanjore, okay. But here we could be able to trace the records and other things from the 16th century only. But if you see all the history, okay, and all you could be able to see even in the second century, okay, we could be able to see, okay, the Tanjore paintings and all. Okay, so that much old thing. Especially this is introduced for home decor item. Home decor item. Okay, in and around Tanjore. Okay, so if you go any temple in the Tanjore also, we could able to see this type of Tanjore paintings. So it is used a mixer called muck. Okay, that is using a prepared using a chalk powder and African gum with a ratio of 2:1. Okay, and they are given an embossed look like this. So no any chemicals and other things that are used, but they could able to represent. Okay, it is completely using all the colors and etc. Okay, so and another one is Rajasthan. Okay, Rajasthan type of art that is developed okay in the forest during the 18th century of royal courts of Rajasthan. Okay, so the most important theme of particular paper, right? The most important theme are from the Lord Krishna. Okay, so and the great epics of Ramayana and Mahabharata. These are all the main themes that came in the Rajasthani painting. Okay, so if you see any schools, okay, they also promoted these type of paintings. Okay, among the interest and then followed by a particular community and especially from Rajasthani. Okay, the Mewar school, especially the Mewar school that contains a Chawant, okay, Natwada and Devak and Udaipur and Savar styles of painting and Hadoti school, Kota and Bundi and Jalawar styles. Okay, so it is also promoted by some schools also. You can able to see right hand side. Okay, how the clarity, how it is giving. Okay, so they are used. Okay, especially on walls of the palaces, interior chambers of the forts. Okay, and havils. Okay, there they are depicted. Okay, with this much clarity and understanding. Next one is kind of is Mughal painting. Mughal painting, it is exclusive combination of Indian, Persian, and Islamic style. Okay, after the people invaded, especially Mughals, they came to India. Okay, so they are making a combination. Okay, of our Indian art and Persian art along with the Islamic style. Okay, so then obviously it started from the 16th century. So under Akbar, okay, he experienced a growth on a large scale. Since Akbar, he was interested in tales and paintings. Okay, so they're based on Ramayana, Mahabharata, and Persian epics. So he want to have it a combination of these things. Okay, that's why the Mughal paintings are getting popular. And if you see the Bengal style, okay, Bengal style, okay, so it is British art, but Okay, so it was earlier, it was started in the long before 14th, 15th century itself, but it was flourished during the British period only, that is to early 20th century. And it was completely influenced the Indian spiritual idea, especially the West Bengal. They have contributed a lot to the spiritual world. So that is the reason why they have influenced to of Indian spiritual ideas, especially West. And the British art teacher, okay, Ernest Binfield Howell, he encouraged his students to imitate such Mughal miniatures that is using a Bengal style. Okay, so and Tahir also best known painting. Okay, so he is also using a Bengal style only. Okay, Bharat Mata, that is Mother of India, that is depicted a young woman portrayed with the four arms in the manner of Hindu deities and holding the object symbolic of Indian national aspirations. So that was really came from a Bengal style paintings only. Okay, and another one is a Warli art. Okay, so especially in Maharashtra, Warli art, they have used Warli is the name of the tribe. Okay, tribe. Okay, so they have resides in the Thane district of Maharashtra, that is at the outskirts of Mumbai. Okay, so they have used helical shapes of men and women. Okay, and concentric circular designs in the Warli paintings are the symbols of circle of life. Okay, the harmony and the balance that's portrayed, okay, is thought to mean the harmony and balance of the universe of discourse. So especially this type of arts is completely throughout the Maharashtra people known, but this type of arts are not getting that much popular, okay, among the other parts, but still you can able to having a distinguished advantages, okay, of using a very few colors only. Okay, these Wali paintings are symbols of circle of life, especially. Okay, so these are all the things are available. And Kalamgari. Okay, Kalamgari. Okay, using a kalam means pen. Okay, so Masuli Patnam near style painting. Okay, so especially in Andhra Pradesh, near to Vijayawada, the particular place is there, Masuli Patnam. Okay, so they have used this type of paint, Kalamgari, okay, that is focuses on the Islamic aesthetics. Mainly focuses on Islamic aesthetic and ripe fruits are used for color the paintings. They have used very, very natural thing. Okay, ripe fruits only. Okay, Sri Kalahasti style. Okay, so especially nearer to Tirupati. Sri Kalahasti style traces paintings on Hindu mythology. Okay, this is also they have used Kalangari painting only. And Pattachitra. Pattachitra is another kind of a traditional painting that we are followed in our tradition in Orissa. Okay, so why this? Because you see that I have taken this from notes of IAS knowledge. When you're going for, when you're taken a history, an Indian tradition, okay, and Indian knowledge tradition, the subjects means, so you have to do or you have to write elaborately on this. Okay, so these type of materials will be definitely useful those who are aspirant in doing any civil services examination also, because civil services examination, even though you studied electrical, electronics, marine, or whatever it may be, physics, chemistry, math, this and that, they will ask you to select on a subject, okay, optional subject, subject and interest, where you can able to select carefully with the scope of scoring marks also. For those type of subjects, you can select this type of Indian traditional knowledge system. So there we have to study all these type of painting styles also. Okay, and especially Pahari. Okay, that is belongs to Jammu and Kashmir area, Jammu to Almora and Garhwal in the sub-Himalayan India. They have used this type of Pahari painting. Okay, so especially this is a very important thing. It gave birth to a new idiom in Indian paintings. Okay, and grow out of a Mughal painting. It came out of Mughal painting, but it is having a different thought, and it was patronized mostly by the Rajput king. So they don't want to simply follow or they don't want to simply use Mughal painting. So then modify with the modified manner, okay, and that too with a different style, okay, so that they have developed, okay, and it was mainly the paintings of Radha and Krishna, okay, so mainly they're inspired by Jayadev's Gita Govinda. Okay, they have developed this Pahari kind of paintings. Okay, so I think we will see now only we have completed up to 29 slides. So we are going to see the different dance forms. Okay, that is also artistic tradition. So that mainly these type of paintings, okay, and dances and other cultural related artistic traditions only. Okay, we have to see a lot of things. Okay, for next class we will discuss about those things. Any clarification? Any discussion you want to make? I have last time I have given some 5 questions, but no one uploaded anything in the Google Classroom. I don't know why. Hello. Last class I have given 5 questions. I asked you to refer, okay, especially on the Indian philosophical system. Indian philosophical system. I asked you to refer materials and give and submit them as an assignment. 5 questions I have given, but only I think 7 or 8 people only joined so far in the Google Classroom for essence of Indian traditional knowledge system. Okay, so I don't know. Once the deadline is over, I will not value or I will not consider. Then and there I will give because you know that very well. This paper, it is in a mandatory course. It doesn't carry any kind of formal evaluation system. Only formative assessment. Okay, so no any summative assessment. Only formative type of assessment. Okay, so any group discussion, some seminar, some assignments. Okay, that form of assessments only. If you are failed to do that, then automatically you cannot able to clear. Finally, only two different category: satisfactory and not satisfactory. Not satisfactory means you have to write it again. Okay, so that's the reason why then and there I'm giving some 5 or 6 questions. You just refer the material, books. Okay, then you have to upload the things. Otherwise, it is too difficult. If you're having that this course with not satisfactory means your degree may not be awarded. Okay, this is a mandatory course category. So the 4 courses you have to study in the entire curriculum. That is mandatory course. No credit, nothing, but you have to clear. You should know some 50% of the knowledge. That's the meaning. Any clarification?
Sir, by tomorrow I will submit, sir.
Okay. Then
Sir, there is no option for submitting in the Google Classroom, sir.
late submission. Late submission also is there.
No, sir, there is no posts there. The Google
Where?
Classroom.
Not Google Classroom. Last time I given in the regular class itself.
Okay, sir.
That still the questions are available. In our chats, if you go, I will show it.
Sir, please play. Can you please paste the Google Classroom link in the chat box, sir?
Google Classroom link.
Yes,
Still,
sir.
some of you not yet joined. Okay, wait. Okay. Now also I posted the message. Okay. Google Classroom. So now once again I'm pasting the question that I have pasted on 8.3. Are you able to see the message that I posted now? Here question I have pasted. Then I will paste. This is a Google Classroom link. Google Classroom link also pasted. Okay. I think in classroom, how many of you? 70, only 30 is only here. Okay. That connection and all. Okay, I'll give all the 17. Okay, so absentees are Karan. Absentees are Karan, Jayalal, Manoj, Rajiv Aravind, Sai Hari, Dinesh, Seth Sundar. Okay, seven absentees. Karan, Jayalal, Manoj, Rajiv Aravind, Sai Hari, and Dinesh. Okay, I will save and finally set that. Okay, you can leave the class.